Hi guys, welcome back to Baddish and Brainy. I know it's been a very long time, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me because today we will be making some Christmas ball ornaments. Now, Christmas is right around the corner, so you want to make sure that you are ready. I know a lot of stuff has been happening right now with the pandemic, but that doesn't mean that we can't bring some cheer into our life, because if we sit here and think about the pandemic all day long, whew, I'm sorry for you. But yeah, so if you guys missed my last video, I spoke about, everything that's been happening and why I kind of missed the past 3-4 months. And I didn't really go into the details of the COVID, of me getting COVID, but that's for another whole video. Right now, this video is about making these Christmas ornaments, and I'm going to be bringing a lot more fitness videos, so you do not want to miss this. Make sure you are clicking the subscribe button. Make sure you're pressing the notification bell because you don't want to miss any more videos. So without further ado, you're going to need your Cricut. If you don't have your Cricut, hopefully you have a printer or you have just some images that you can use. Cut them out. You're going to need some transfer paper as well to put the images onto the blank ornament balls. So of course you're going to need a blank ornament ball. And that's about it. Just basically 3 things. And of course, let's get started. So guys, the first thing I did was go to my Cricut app, and I looked for my favorites because I remember I saved these in my favorites. So basically you're just looking for some ornaments that you can use, and I used Zoey the Deschanel. I don't even know who this is, but I'm guessing she has a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll look her up. But I use these because these look pretty cute, pretty simple, and it says it's easy, less than 30 minutes. So you're going to need a premium permanent vinyl, red, green, and also I used felt for the ears. Now, don't mind the family message. But so the Cricut is pretty self-explanatory. You just put everything in and it's already there for you. All you have to do is press print and it prints everything for you. Pretty simple. So I connected it to my Cricut, and that's the thing that I don't like, that I have to reconnect every time. I have to keep reconnecting even though it's basically on. I don't know, maybe there's a way to figure that out, but I have not figured that out yet. I'm still pretty new, but I figured out quite a few things. So it's connecting, takes a little while, boom, yay, connected. All right, and then it tells you everything. You're telling it which material you want to put it on. I'm not using iron-on. So on the dial there is actually a switch, a little knob that you turn. So you're going to turn it to the desired material that you need, and in this case I need vinyl. So I'm going to switch. As you can see, it's moving now from cardstock. I don't need cardstock, so I'm going to switch it to vinyl. I don't know why I say vinyl, either which way. And then now you want to use the shiny side. Put the shiny side down, stick it to your mat, and I try to line it up. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I try to line it up as much as I can because I actually want to save the paper after, and I don't want it to be too crooked. So I kind of just push it in there just a little bit gently, press the feed button so that it just pulls the mat and the paper in. And then once it's ready, you just press the C button for Cricut, and then it starts to do its thing for itself. So right now it's cutting the word ever. Now the thing about the Cricut is that each time you want to do a different word in a different color, it's a separate layer. Basically, they call that layers. So this layer is the word ever, and it's in the color blue. So right now the Cricut is working on that. Once it's done, you press the feed button to send it out and to release it. And now here you can see it a little bit, but you can see the cut ever in the vinyl. Now the next thing you want to do is peel from the back. I think it really doesn't matter if you peel from the front or the back, but some YouTubers say it does. For me, I haven't noticed much of a difference peeling from the back. Then I'm going to cut it because I want to cut it down smaller. and save that vinyl paper. So I'm going to cut it down as small and as closely as I can to the word ever without destroying the actual word itself. So there's the word ever. Now I'm going to save that, and then next I'm going to do the other part. So the next part is in a different color. It's in the color red. So I'm going to use the red paper, shiny side down, stick it as best as you can. And sometimes it's kind of hard to tell the shiny side, but as you can see, the light reflects in it a little bit better on the shiny side. So shiny side down, and of course you stick it onto the mat. Again, I'm a perfectionist, so I try to stick it as close as I can. And same process, you put it into the Cricut. I feed it in there ever so slightly because the machine basically does everything, and that's why I love this machine. So you press it, it feeds it in there. You must press this button to start, and then once it's lit up, you press the C for the Cricut button, and then it starts to cut the words. Now it's going to cut the words best friend, I believe. And you can kind of see it here, probably not so much because there's a lot of glare, but you can see the cuts, the little indentations. Again, you're going to cut it down smaller because you're going to need just that little piece to stick it down to the ornament. Now, it actually printed both pieces, which is great. So if you're using a red color and you say that you want like 2 different designs, you can actually use the same color and it will print both of them. So that's the plus side, I guess. So on the card, there is the cat, and there's also the words best friends. It may be very hard to see, but don't worry. As we continue into the video, you'll see it better. And I used felt. They also said I could use some cardstock paper. I might just use some cardstock paper maybe later on. But I'm using the felt for now because I really like the color yellow. And I wanted to see how I could, just enhance the ornament a little bit more, just add a little bit of a different design. But as I said, I might just go back and use the cardstock if I don't like how it comes out. But the next thing I noticed is that, again, you have to turn the dial. So I turned the dial to fabric. There's bonded fabric, which is that sticky type of fabric, and this one is regular felt. Now the felt, for whatever reason, did not cut as crisp and clean as I hoped and expected. And you'll see that now, there were the indents, but I still had to go back with the scissors and cut it. So I am not too sure why that is. Maybe it was not the correct setting, but again, something for me to figure out. And then the next thing, now I have the 2 ears, which I love. I'm so excited. So to get everything on, as you can see, I started to do the ornaments. I did everything kind of out of order. But you're going to stick the transfer paper onto your vinyl. Then you're going to slowly peel the vinyl off. Now, this might be like the trickiest part. It's easier for me to do with my nails. A lot of YouTubers use the tool. The tool to me is a little bit harder. It's sharper, and I don't know. I just haven't mastered it yet. But you slowly peel the vinyl. If one side is not peeling up, that's okay. You don't want to destroy it. So it's also a good idea to just move to the next side. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to move over to the next side, and I'm going to slowly try to press it in there. This is where I actually get to use the tool. So I'm going to slowly press it in there to make sure that only the parts that I want release. So slowly I'm going to start to peel from the red part, the vinyl. And so it gave me a little bit more trouble than I expected. So I started off camera, and then I just continued peeling. And yeah, so you take off the backing, the vinyl backing, and then the vinyl, and then what remains is the image that you want to put onto the ornament that sticks onto the transfer paper. And now look, it's perfectly nice and clean. Awesome. You can save the other part as a stencil if you want to, and maybe you want to use some spray paint, I don't know, get creative and use that as a stencil. But we're gonna save the actual backing for the ball. See, super nice and clean. So originally I wanted to use a white ball, but I didn't have any. So I took this one from the Christmas tree, and it so happens that it's the only white ball and it has a lot of glitter. Now, this is not the best service for this vinyl because the glitter makes it very hard for the adhesive to stick. So I tried and tried, and it just wasn't working out, and I knew it would not come out the way I wanted it to. Yeah, I even put some rubbing alcohol and stuff like that, but I figured, you know what, why make life complicated? Let's just go the easy route. So I switched back to the clear ball. So first we want to start gluing the ears together. So once you print it out, you have to fold the earpiece in half and then just stick it with some glue, and that will give you the shape of the ear. So you just stick that together. Of course, you do it for both sides, and that was the fun part. This was the easiest part of this ball. Now, the problem was actually getting this ear to stick, because as you can see, it's kind of like it's gonna defy gravity because it's a ball. There are a lot of sharp angles on this paper, so it's like, how do you really get it to stick? But don't worry, I figured it out. So now the next part that we're gonna do is stick the vinyl down to the ear, and that will give you the red inside part of the ear. So I used the weeding tool, and that's gonna help me to just start to raise up the vinyl, the cut that the Cricut already made. And I am not going to use any transfer tape because this is just basically taking off this vinyl part and laying it inside the white part, the white ear part. So no extra things are needed. So it's already sticky. It's just like a sticker. You just match it up the right way, and then you stick it on to the ear. See, there you go. Got it. All right. And you want to make sure this is laying nice and flat. This, you can have a little bit more leeway and pick it up if need be, which I had to do just about once or twice. And then you just want to line it up as closely as you can to the corner, because you're actually going to be using the edge. See, it's so nice and neat. Look at that. You're actually going to be using the ears. Well, that's the best way I figured out to use the edge to stick it on. You'll see what I mean later on. So we're going to do both ears. Make sure it's super nice and neat. All right. Here we take the vinyl off, and then we're going to get ready to add it to the earpiece. All right, so here we have 2 completed ears. You smooth it out, make sure it's nice. I love this. This looks super cute. And now I did tell you I had to use the clear ball because the white ball with the glitter was not working for me, and I didn't have any others. So I just used the clear ball, and look, I just used the same stencil, or the same piece stencil, whatever you want to call it. And this was so much easier. It literally came right off super clean, perfectly. So you know, this one is better. Oh, I missed a piece there. I'm gonna go back and put that on later. Yeah, but if it's raising up, you just want to smooth it out a little bit more. And now it's the tough part, getting ready to put the ears on. Wait, first, actually, I want to make a bow, because she had a bow in her picture. I used some extra felt, the felt that I didn't want to use for the ears. So I'm gonna use the felt to make the bow. I could have used anything else, but the felt was right there, so I just figured that one was easier. So I scrunch it up. There we have a cute little bow. Now the only part is gluing it. That's where the bow can be a hit or miss, mess it up pretty easily. But I'm gonna glue the bow on, and this part I'm kind of gonna speed up because it's kind of self-explanatory. You glue the bow, you scrunch it up, you glue it on to the ornament. All right, now awesome. I'm just gonna add a piece of ribbon, and this helps to just neaten up the bow a little bit more and get that scrunch in there. So you're gonna glue, you're gonna use the hot glue and use the ribbon on. And then once that is done, you're gonna attach it to the ornament. Now, the cutting part, the Cricut is the easiest part. The Cricut is the easiest part. The hardest part is attaching these things, or you know, just like the little intricate details that you do after you get that cut from the Cricut. But yep, so I'm gonna use the glue gun and I'm gonna attach it to here, and then we're gonna move forward with the ears. Alrighty, so now it's time for the tough part, the ears. And here's where I was talking about these sharp angles. How do you stick these sharp angles onto the ornament? So basically what I ended up having to do, you know, I wanted it to look like that, but it was not going to look like that, the way how the ornament was. But I basically used the white part as a base to put the glue on, and then that's the part that I was going to stick the ears on. So here you can see I did one ear already, so I'm going to show you how I do the second ear, just for it to stay on. So you can see the curvature right there. Basically I'm just going to have to stick it onto the ball, and that's why it's better to use that white ornament, but I didn't have the white one, so the clear one is going to have to work just fine. So I'm just putting some glue on the edge here, because this is the part I'm going to kind of like fold in to stick onto the ornament. And thankfully the hot glue is holding it together, so thank goodness for that. So yeah, you just bend it a little bit and you see like it has that nice little shape on there. I love it. I do want to go get some white ornaments now, just so I can make this again and see, you know, how the difference would be, and of course make a better bow. Maybe if I do that, I might show you guys later on. But yep, that's the end of the ears. Super cute. Here's the first one, best friend ever, and the original one that I made, I added some liquid in there, you know, just trying things out, seeing different things. And here is the final product. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Look at it. You're the greatest ever, best friend ever, and a little kitty cat. Super cute. So I just realized I didn't show you guys how I made the other ones. So here we go. Here is how I made the other two balls. So far I did the cat, I did the part for the best friends. Here's the part for the ears. I'm going to save that one for last because I'm still not too sure if I want to use the cardstock or if I want to use the felt. And this is the transfer paper. I always cut it down as much as I can. Transfer paper is very reusable, so you can save it to use it for as many times. I can't remember how many times you are allowed to use it without the stickiness going away. But sometimes, especially if you're working with like a round, any kind of curvature in your material, so like the mugs, the ornaments, all those things like that, it's better to put cuts in your material. So the first thing you want to do, clean the ornament, right? Because you want to make sure it has a nice clean surface for the vinyl to stick to. I use the felt again, but still, I could still use this later on. And I clean the surface with rubbing alcohol. So I'm going to start to put the word best friend on there. So remember, right now it's just on the backing paper, so I'm going to line it up. And now, as you can see, as you try to fold it over, you don't want to have any bubbles in there. So you're going to use the scissors to just cut little, kind of like little pieces in there. Well, not, you know, little spaces, so that once you actually start to put the backing on, the transfer paper onto the ornament, that paper actually moves with the ball. It's not just stiff and rigid. So this part can be very intricate. You have to work very slowly. You find a nice place to line it up. I think this looks pretty good. All right, and you slowly start to stick it on there, because once it starts to go on there, like it's ready. Like you can see the teeth was already starting to stick, so it's saying, hey, let's go, like right now, make up your mind. So slowly, you could also use the presser. I don't know what's the correct term for it, but where you smooth it down, the smoother, I guess, and start to smooth on that part. Now, the next thing to go with this, the next thing to know with using a curved ball or ornaments, a mug, anything like that, is that you have to go very slowly. And I will make a tutorial for making a mug, because that is next on my to-do list. So yes, so you can see right there where there's the cut, the transfer paper is able to move a little bit easier. Now, in the pack that I bought, it came with transfer sheets, so I don't mind using a few extras to make sure that my design stays on properly. I know usually I could save as much, I could save the transfer paper as much as possible, but I don't mind making a few cuts just to make sure that this adheres the way that I need it to be, especially with the curvatures. You want to go very slowly. You can see now that it's starting to stick properly, but I still also had to go back in with the weeder tool. This is the presser, but I still had to go back in with the weeder tool after to make sure that some parts did not like bubble in or things like that, because you don't want it to have, you want it to be straight, right? Straight and flat. Like you can see right there with the F, there's a bubble there. So in this case, I can make another cut, or I can just go very, very slowly and with the weeder tool just kind of like pick it up a little bit and put it back down. But the trick is to go very slowly around where you have your cuts and around where the curve is. But you just keep going. See, so here I'm using the weeder and I'm slowly kind of just straightening it out to make sure that it sticks the way I want it to. This is the very part where it's like very intricate, and you really have to be patient with it. But in the end, it is worth it, guys. So next up, I got Best Friend. I'm gonna slowly start to peel it off in a few minutes, and then we're gonna start to put the word ever, because the whole quote is saying best friend ever. That's one ornament. The next ornament is the cat ornament. I also made an additional ornament because I kind of messed up before, and I will actually add that in the video just so you guys can see, it's okay to make mistakes. Like it's you're still learning. So this took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but as you can see, slowly as you start to peel it up, you see that it has stuck super nicely. Just one little star got away, but it looks super good. It's amazing. I love it. And I'm just gonna go in with the weeder, like the T that's standing up there. I want it to be super smooth, so I just pick it up a little bit, and then I'm going to lay it back down. I can use the presser, whatever this tool is called, and just go back in there and just make sure it lays down nice and flat. Now the next thing you can do to seal it once you're all done, you can go over it with some clear Mod Podge. I'm not going to do that because this is for me. So it's literally just going on the Christmas tree. I don't care about all that extra stuff, but it still looks great. Like that's the point. Like it looks amazing. I did get a few extra stickers and I saved it and I put them on my computer. So you're going to see a few different designs on the computer throughout the video. But at the end of the day, I love it. All right, now it's time to put the word ever. You're the best friend ever. And this would be really great. So, as I said, sorry, before I continue that, as I said, you want to make sure you can reuse the paper. This one does have the cuts in it, but it's also big enough that I can reuse it. You want to make sure your transfer paper is clean though. But this ornament would be really great also to add into like a gift basket. Let's say you want to make a nice gift basket for a friend. You have the best friend ever. You add a few other personalized items in there. Perfect. They're going to love it. They're going to thank you for it. And I'm going to make a video about it so you can see like a nice little personalized item that I can make to share with a friend. A towel, like a little spa treatment, things like that. Don't worry, the video's coming as soon as I have some time. Teacher life is very, very stressful. There's a lot to do, but there's also so much fun. Now, I love this one. The font is amazing. This is a very good choice. It's super clean. It came out super clean, super easy with the extra lines. I love this. And that's why I also made a separate ornament. So I added a third ornament to what? A Zoey Deschanel, I think her name is. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But I added a third ornament to, I guess, her design. But I used the word ever. And you're going to see that later on in the video. Now, this one was a little bit tricky because also this one comes down to the curvature at the bottom. Now, if I used a bigger ornament, this one was also a small ornament. So this is why I kind of had that problem opposed to her. Hers, I think, was a little bit bigger, but again, you can work through this. This is the point of like just having that learning experience. You can work through it. So I pasted down because I noticed that these already started sticking, so there was not much way getting around it, but the R was out of place. It's too high up. So what I started to do eventually is just to cut around the R, and I'm going to just have the R separate, and I'm going to stick that where I need to, just so that it's not sticking on top of the best friend, you know, that word. But the rest of the EVE, they already started to stick. So I didn't want to move those around too much, because then that's going to mess up my whole design, and you know, you don't want to do that. So you slowly take it off, and then look, super beautiful. Look at this, guys. I'm telling you, I love doing stuff like this. This is just so amazing. I'm trying to get it to focus so you guys can really get a good look at it, but you know, the camera, it focuses on what it wants to see, like, I guess. So peel it off. Look at that, best friend Eve. Imagine if you personalized it. But all right, so now I had to do the R separate, just because before, the way that I was sticking it, it literally just stuck onto the D, and I did not want that. Of course, that looks very weird. So now I get to put it where I want it. If I wanted it to hang to the side, I could have hang it to the side, but it's already starting to stick on there. And I realized that I forgot to weed out that little hole in between. The fun thing about this is that there's always room for error, and there's always room to go back and fix that error. So as I take off, you know, press it down first, of course, press it down, and then once I take off the transfer paper, I could always go back in and very, very slowly and gently take out that little part in the middle. And yes, if ever you're pressing it down and it's not sticking, just go back in again, and eventually it will stick. That's what the transfer paper does, it just sticks it on there. All right, let's see. So now I can take off the transfer paper slowly. You see it sticks on there. Nice, look at that. All right, and now in the middle, I want to get rid of that little tiny hole that I forgot to take off. So really, really slowly, very gently, slowly lift it up. And this opposed to like, what's that, when you, what's that word, oh, I'm trying to think of that word, but look, it looks perfect. I love it, I love it, I love it. But oh, etch, right, that was the word. So here's the other design that I made, You're the Greatest Ever, and I added some stars, I added a little tree and a bow, and of course the best friend ever that I got from the Zoey Deschanel page. And yes, so you can also etch these words into there. That's a whole other video, but basically you're going to use the stencil to etch it in there. I'll show you guys in another time. But yeah, so this is when I started to really get to enjoy like the Cricut a lot more. I love this. So here, guys, is where I told you I made that error. So I started, you know, I was strong, I made everything, did all the Cricut parts, and then I put ever in the middle. So I started with the word ever where best friends was supposed to be, and that completely messed it up because I didn't have enough space for best friends anymore. So in this part, this is the error I was telling you about that I promised that I would show you, because people make mistakes, and mistakes are basically just a learning experience. But I made all the cuts, everything was perfect. I put it in the middle, and as you can see where that placement is, there's not enough space for best friends ever. So I literally had to figure out what other ornament can I make so I don't waste this ornament and this pretty cool word. So that's why I decided to put You're the Greatest Ever, and I just added a few things and, you know, touched it up. But let's move on. And you see, like, once you start to put it on, it already starts to stick. So there was like literally no room for me to go back and be like, all right, I can't. I just had to, you know, do what it does and just figure something out. And that's how that third ornament was born. So of course, if you like this video or it helps you out in any way, or these ornaments which are just so cute, you love them, make sure to subscribe because more videos will be coming your way. You can also check out my blog/store, www.badishandbrainy.com. Check out my other channels, my education channel, because I am a teacher and stuff like that, you know, all that good stuff. Get to know more about Badish and Brainy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.